I've been to over a dozen countries, and today I want to talk to you about the one day that I had in Korea. So my time in Korea was really short because really it was just a long layover between going from Japan to getting back to home, which is in the States in the Northeast US. So the flight between Japan and JFK I took went through Korea. So it was kind of weird. I went west to then fly again east. But that one day that I got in Korea was pretty awesome, and it was very similar to like the time I had in Doha and Qatar because it was kind of like you have a very limited time. You just hit the things that you can get, and then you get back on a plane and continue on, and you're super jet lagged. So I will post as many of the links as I can in the description of my YouTube video because I will probably forget the names as I go through it. But we got in really late, so there wasn't really public transportation running at the time that we were getting out of the airport. But we did manage to get an Uber and went to the hotel, and I slept for maybe a few hours, and then I got up because I wanted to get going. So I grabbed a quick breakfast at the hotel, which was an additional charge, but it was worth it. Had a great view, and then I was ready to go. I was one of the first people to get to Gyeongbokgung Palace, which was awesome. In general, things felt like they were up a little bit later than I was maybe used to, but it worked out fine because I got up early, had a chance to kind of wander on my own, and then I was the first one in the gate. As I went through, it was great to see the architecture and read a bunch of the plaques. I took a picture of a lot of them because I was kind of speed running it because there was a very limited time, and I needed to get back to meet up with some people for lunch so that we could get back on a plane and return home. So I went through, took the pictures that I could, saw what I could, got to see some wildlife just kind of living its best life, which was really neat because there wasn't a crowd coming in yet, so it wasn't quite like disturbed and everything was hiding yet. So it was neat to see it, and I was as quiet as I could be just to respect the local wildlife and kind of get a chance to see it just do its thing. After that, I found my way back, and I did have to download the map for Korea navigation. Google Maps does not work. It basically just says, you are here, that is your location that you're trying to get to. Go in a straight line, and it does not really see that there's roads or buildings. So the Korean navigation app, which I'll post in the description, that one actually does help you navigate, although it's not as like, I'm just not used to it like I am with Google. So it wasn't bad at all. It just was a different app I had to download. And of course, I got food because that is one of the three pillars of every trip is the food that is local. And somehow we ended up in this restaurant that was upstairs on a market street. I kind of just let other people decide where to eat, but this was fantastic. I learned that I really like the rice cake noodles, and I will have to look up what the dish was called because it was really good. And I would love to have that in Korea again someday. But for now, the memory just lives in my mind. Shortly after finishing lunch, we had to hop back on public transportation, which was open, obviously, by the time because it was like midday. So back to the airport. I did really like the airport. It was kind of a large open space after you went and got through security and everything. And they had this exhibit on Valorant, which was neat and just something to do, which I appreciate because getting to the airport a few hours early, I don't want to just sit in a chair waiting to sit in another chair. Kept myself busy there for a little bit, then hopped on a plane, and after what felt like pretty much forever, we landed in New York City, and then I found my way back home later. But I had to sleep on the floor in JFK Airport. That is not my favorite airport, and I'll have more stories on that at another point. So that's a pretty fast kind of overview of a very fast day for me in Korea. If you have questions, let me know in the comments, and let me know what types of things you might want to hear me talk about because I love to travel. I like to share my experiences, and I take a lot of notes, but I don't do much with them. So I'm trying to get some of those notes out into my YouTube videos. So maybe other people benefit from my experience and the time that I spend researching things. But in the meanwhile, set goals, embrace random, and live your adventure.